Let us pray. As Canadians and as Albertans, we give thanks for the precious gifts of freedom and peace which we enjoy. As members of this Legislative Assembly, we rededicate ourselves to the valued traditions of parliamentary democracy as a means of serving our province and our country. Amen. Mr. Premier, would you and the member for Red Deer North please proceed to the door of the chamber? Sergeant at Arms, open the door, please. Order, please. Honorable members, I have received from the Chief Electoral Officer of Alberta, pursuant to the Election Act, a report containing results of the by-election conducted on March the 5th, 1992, which states that a by-election was conducted in the constituency of Little Bow, and the said report further shows that Barry Glenn McFarland was duly elected as the member for Little Bow. Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to present to you Barry Glenn McFarland, the new member for Little Bow, who has taken the oath as a member of this House and has discharged the role, and now claims the right to take his seat.
Let the honourable member take his seat. Honourable members, today we offer congratulations to 6 members who celebrate their 17th anniversary on the occasion of their first election to this Assembly. They are the members for Tabor-Warner, Pincher Creek Crow's Nest, Lethbridge West, Cypress Redcliffe, Lethbridge East, and Medicine Hat.
Introduction of visitors. Presenting petitions.
Member for Calgary Northwest.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to present two petitions signed by 43 teachers from Marion Carson School and R.B. Bennett School in Northwest Calgary, requesting that the Legislative Assembly give favorable consideration to Resolution 226-91 passed at the Emergent Representative Assembly September 28, 1991.
Edmonton Goldbar.
Mr. Speaker, I beg leave to present a petition from the parents and friends of lesbians and gays, respectfully requesting the Legislative Assembly to urge the government to introduce legislation amending the IRPA to protect gay Albertans from discrimination.
Member for Lacombe.
Mr. Speaker, given that the Minister of Education has advised this Assembly that discussions with the Alberta Teachers Association regarding the Teachers Retirement Fund Act are about to resume, I am pleased to present a petition on behalf of the schools in my constituency supporting this decision.
Member for Calgary Fish Creek.
You weren't sure, Mr. Speaker. Well, honorable neighbor, then, in the interest of the timely resolution of the completion of discussions between the government and the Alberta Teachers Association regarding the Teachers Retirement Fund, I'm pleased today to present petitions on behalf of 9 schools in my constituency. These resolutions, of course, have to do with the question of the Alberta Teachers Association resolution, to which reference has been made on many occasions in recent days, Mr. Speaker. Deer Run School involving 27 teachers, the Sam Livingston School involving 23 teachers, also 23 teachers at Queensland Downs Elementary School, 21 teachers at the Haltane Memorial School, 20 teachers at the Midnapore School, 26 teachers at the Father James Whalehan School, 9 teachers at the St. Boniface School, 13 teachers at St. Philip School, and finally 27 teachers at Don Bosco School. And while I'm on my feet, Mr. Speaker, I wonder if I might, in behalf of my honourable colleague from Calgary Shaw, who as the Minister of the Crown is constrained from presenting petitions, in his behalf, I would then like to present petitions on behalf of 22 teachers from Canyon Meadows Elementary, 26 teachers at Cedar Brae Elementary, 24 teachers at Father Doucette Elementary, 17 teachers at William Roper Hall School, 16 teachers at Janet Johnson Elementary, and finally 27 teachers at Woodlands Elementary School. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Hills.
Speaker. On behalf of a number of teachers teaching in the Three Hills constituency at the Torrington, Edwards, Burt Church, and Acme schools, I am filing these petitions. The teachers indicate their support for a resolution which was adopted by the teacher representatives at the Emergent Representative Assembly of the Alberta Teachers Association on September 28, 1991. This resolution being outlined on the petition. And as indicated by other members, Mr. Speaker, I am pleased that negotiations or discussions are now ongoing.
Please, thank you. Calgary McCall. Vote.
Mr. Speaker, the people of my constituency are delighted to hear that the Minister of Education has announced that discussions regarding the Teachers Retirement Fund have returned.
I'm sorry, folks. Let's just introduce the petition.
As such, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to present petitions from 5 schools. Falcon Ridge School with 22 teachers, St. Mark's School with 15, St. Rose of Lima School with 32, Bob Edwards Junior High School with 30, and St. Rupert Elementary School with 18.
Thank you. Redwater Andrew.
In the light of negotiations with the ministers and Department of Education and teachers on retirement pension, I want to present petitions from 19 teachers from the Lamont Elementary School, 18 teachers from the Bruderheim School, and 19 teachers from Torhill Central School, and 14 teachers from Ochre Park School at Redwater, and also 18 teachers of the Andrews School on their behalf. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Member Athabasca Lac-La-Biche.
I would like to present 5 petitions signed from 5 schools, signed by 49 teachers from the Athabasca Lac-La-Biche constituency, urging the Legislative Assembly to accord favorable consideration to a certain resolution passed on an emergent Representative Assembly of the Alberta Teachers Association, September 28, 1991.
Additional?
Reading and receiving petitions.
Member for it's one of those days. Excuse me, Edmonton Avonmore, followed by Edmonton Goldbar.
The petition I tabled yesterday be read and received.
Edmonton Avonmore.
Legislative Assembly of Alberta and Legislature assembled. We, the undersigned, respectfully petition the Legislative Assembly to urge the government to adopt the recommendations of the Alberta Human Rights Commission and protect gays and lesbians against discrimination by amending the Individuals' Right Protection Act.
Edmonton Goldbar.
Now request that the petition I presented yesterday from Terra School be now read and received.
We, the undersigned, as professional staff members of Terra School, urge the Legislative Assembly of Alberta to accord favorable consideration to the following resolution, adopted by teacher representatives at the Emergent Representative Assembly of the Alberta Teachers Association on September 28, 1991. Be it resolved that the Alberta Teachers Association return to negotiations with the government with a view to concluding a new agreement in which A, teachers and the government jointly contribute the full amount of all future service costs to the Teachers Retirement Fund. B, the government assumes full responsibility for the total unfunded liability related to past service costs and adopts an acceptable plan for retiring that debt. C, the government amends the TRF Act to provide full cost of living adjustments to pensions. And D, the other changes incorporated in the May 4th, 1991 Memorandum of Understanding are retained.
Thank you.
Presenting reports by standing and special committees. Notices of motions. Introduction of bills.
Member for West Yellowhead.
Today I'd like to introduce a bill in my name, Bill number 282, an amendment to the Legislative Assembly Pension Plan Act. This would stop sitting MLAs from drawing pensions while gainfully employed at the legislature, known as the Getty-Trenchy Double Dipping Act.
Honourable member, that's completely out of order. Would you like to withdraw the last statement?
Do I have to withdraw it?
Withdraw the last.
Withdrawn, Mr. Speaker.
The member for West Yellowhead has introduced for first reading Bill 282, members of the Legislative Assembly Pension Plan Amendment Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Members of the Legislative Assembly Pension Plan Amendment Act, introduced by the Honourable Member Mr. Doyle, is now read a first time.
Mountain View today. Thank you. Order, please. Order, please. Clerk, next item, please.
Tabling returns and reports.
Honourable the Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to file with the legislature the communiques from the First Minister's meeting on the economy, which concluded last evening. These communiques deal with 8 subjects, Mr. Speaker. The subjects are investment in infrastructure, interprovincial trade, effective and efficient social programs, international trade, training, fisheries, tax policy cooperation, and agriculture.
Minister of Technology, Research and Telecommunications.
Here it's my pleasure to table the annual report for 1990-91 of the Alberta Heritage Foundation for Medical Research, copies of which have already been distributed to members.
Additional Solicitor General.
Speaker, I'm pleased to table with the Assembly the 67th annual report of the Alberta Liquor Control Board for the year ended January 1st, 1991, and copies have been distributed previously to the members. I also would like to table, required by statute, the annual report of the Department of Solicitor General for the year ending March 31st, 1991. Mr. Speaker, I am also pleased to file with the Assembly a very important report that I would encourage all members to read, entitled Impaired Driving in Alberta, a 7-year perspective, 1984 to 1990, detailing provincial trends in impaired driving.
Member for Edmonton Jasper Place.
Speaker, I have 3 documents for filing today. The first is a copy of a joint venture agreement for the construction, operation, ownership and operation of a part of the Alberta Special Waste Management System, the Swan Hills plant. The second is a series of excerpts from the most recent Procter & Gamble operating license, which shows that the standard that the Minister of the Environment said has been in place for 18 months will not be met until the end of 1993 by Procter & Gamble. And the third is a news release dated January 16, 1992, in which the Honorable John Kishore commits to zero chlorine-based pollutants by the year 2002 or earlier. The very pledge we want the Minister to make.
Grand Prairie.
Now with you as the environment minister, but nobody
Mr. Speaker, it's my pleasure to table copies of the 27th annual report of the Northern Alberta Development Council for the year 1990-91, and copies were distributed to the members previously.
Honorable members, I table with the Assembly the 1991 annual report to the Alberta Legislative Assembly Office.
Introduction of special guests.
Member for Little Bowl.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I know it's not the practice of this House to have a member introduce his immediate family. However, after prior consultation with you, Mr. Speaker, I appreciate your indulgence in allowing me on this special day to introduce to you, sir, and the members of the Assembly, my family who are seated in the members' gallery. With me today is my wife, Mary, my sons, Ryan, Sean, and Patrick, and my daughter, Shara. I would ask that they now rise and receive the cordial welcome of the Assembly.
Clerk.
Ministerial statements. Oral question period.
Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, when this government seized gainers from Peter Pocklington in 1989, the provincial treasurer assured Albertans, Mr. Speaker, that their $55 million loan guarantee and their $6 million loan were safe, Mr. Speaker. In fact, the treasurer said at the time that Albertans got, and I quote, good value for their money. Mr. Speaker, no wonder we have a huge deficit in this province, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, it's been more than 2 years since the government has been running gainers, yet Albertans have no financial information on the company. My question to the treasurer is simply this, Mr. Speaker. Does the provincial treasurer still stand by his assertion that the province got good value for the huge amount of money that this province gave Peter Pocklington?
Mr. Speaker, there's should be clear, Mr. Speaker, even to the member from Norwood, that by the government taking the action that it did to secure the Gainers operation from the owner, we've been able to stabilize the jobs of over 1,000 people here in the city of Edmonton and providing a major opportunity for jobs to be secure here. Now, the member can't have it both ways. In one question period saying we're doing nothing about jobs, and the other time when we act, and act effectively to get jobs for Albertans, he's criticizing that action. And secondly, Mr. Speaker, what the government has done is ensured that the hog operations of Alberta, the farmers who are raising hogs right across this province, have a market, have a place to send their hogs for slaughter. Those two things, Mr. Speaker, are certainly worth the value and the commitment the government has made to ensure that Gainers is a viable and strong operation for this province.
Yeah. Well, we need more jobs. Where's Peter? We'll just bring him in. We'll have jobs all over the province, Mr. Speaker. Applying that logic, Mr. Speaker. I can understand why the treasurer doesn't want to answer the question because, Mr. Speaker, documents filed in the Court of Queen's Bench, which I will now file, Mr. Speaker, show that at the time, Mr. Pocklington's company was carrying a $41 million deficit, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, I would say this is hardly good value for our money. And my question simply to the treasurer is this. Why did the provincial treasurer mislead Albertans at the time of the takeover when he knew Pocklington was carrying a $41 million deficit?
Speaker, there he goes again, exhibiting his lack of knowledge about fundamental financial statements. It's clear. I know the House doesn't want me to take him through this exercise, but the size of the deficit of a company, Mr. Speaker, has nothing to do with the assets, the fixed assets upon which the government had its security. And I should go on to say, Mr. Speaker, that the province, further, Mr. Speaker, the province, as I've said in this House before, is now taking action which totals some more than $75 million against the former owner, Mr. Pocklington, and is now in court. And so it shouldn't be unusual to see these kinds of documents provided through the court process. We have nothing to hide. We're going to get it out in the open through the court process, Mr. Speaker, and then you'll see, Mr. Speaker, what this province has done to secure the jobs, secure the opportunity for pig markets and pig farming in this province, and to secure the future of the value added for agriculture as well, Mr. Speaker.
Maybe, Mr. Speaker, the Treasurer should read what's put in. He wants to talk about the assets. Well, it says that the assets were $117 million and the liabilities were $132 million, Mr. Speaker. Right. Some deal. There it is, Mr. Speaker, from your government. My question is then to the minister then, rather than it coming out in dribs and drabs, now that they believe in freedom of information then, Mr. Speaker, why doesn't he table it right here today then and tell us the real realities behind the cost? Do it, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the real reality is just as we described. Here we have a Alberta company which is adding a tremendous amount of agricultural value for the producers in this province, securing markets not just in Canada but across the North American market space, including California and Washington, changing the name of the company to modify it towards the Swifts brand, Mr. Speaker, and really aggressively pursuing markets for the producers in this province. But I must go on to say, Mr. Speaker, as I said before, and I'm not driven by the government's position or by freedom of information, which is a confused matter in the member's mind. We're driven by Beauchene and the standing orders of this House, Mr. Speaker, which dictate and give us clear direction that if the matter is before the courts, as this matter is, as I said, in at least 7 different actions, then I am committed, Mr. Speaker, and driven by the bounds of this Legislative Assembly, that matter, when it's before the court, is a matter of sub judice, and I am not therefore able to file or provide additional information which may prejudice our position in the court action against Mr. Pocklington.
Second main question, Leader of the Opposition. Order.
Sir, that's what you did.
Order. Second main question, please.
Treasurer, Mr. Speaker, will go from $100 million bamboozle to another $100 million fiasco, Mr. Speaker. When I tried to ask the Minister of Economic Development a couple days ago about the Magnesium Company of Canada, Mr. Speaker, he said he can't answer the questions. He said, ask Dickie. Okay. Dickie knows all, Mr. Speaker.
That's funny.
So now we have the Treasurer here, so we'll try again, Mr. Speaker. 2 days have passed, and Alberta taxpayers have lost another $66,000 in this company because of this government's inaction and mismanagement. My question now to the Treasurer is simply this. Will the provincial Treasurer tell this Assembly why the Alberta government has not yet taken control of this company?
That's a fair question, Mr. Speaker, and I think I appreciate the opportunity to update the House as to what's happening on the Magnesium Company plant. I must say that it falls on Treasury's desk because you're now into the guarantee side as opposed to the economic development side. So, so it does have a different spin, Mr. Speaker, and I know the member acknowledges that. But I can say that we have gone through a very difficult process with the 2 former owners of this plant. One was a company called MyCan, which was a joint venture with an Alberta gas company and an offshore investment company. And as a consequence of the fact that one of the partners was not able to meet its commitments on the run-up of the company, and therefore there was a default action, A&G, which is the Alberta company, has been very helpful in doing several things. First of all, ensuring that all the bills and liabilities which were outstanding at the time have been fully paid. That took some time to work out. I know there's been some discussion with several large creditors, but I think essentially those are completed. And secondly, maintaining the same objective as the government, they have taken some time to ensure
that the environmental hazards or aspects of this plant are fully dealt with. And in that fashion, Mr. Speaker, we've had consultants and the cooperation of the former owners and, of course, the Department of Environment, but very, very largely involved in ensuring the environmental aspects are secure. In the meantime, Mr. Speaker, we are...
Treasurer, I do have to cut you off so we can go to some supplementaries. Thank you.
I enjoyed that history lesson of why we lost it, Mr. Speaker, what's gone on. But my question simply is this, Mr. Speaker. Each day, $33,000 of taxpayers' money. We're losing, Mr. Speaker. I mean, that's the figures that you gave us back when I can show you the press release, Mr. Speaker. And my question simply to this, that's $115 million of taxpayers' money at risk. And I want to know not the history of it, what is the Treasurer doing then to stop this bleeding, and when are we going to get their money back, Mr. Speaker?
Just a minute, Mr. Speaker. The records will show that the member asked me why did it take so long for the government to secure its position. I answered that question. There's more information I've been trying to give to him. When I do go to give him information the government wants to put on the table for all the Albertans, what is reasonable information for them, the member then intercepts it because he doesn't like the answer. Well, that's not the way it works here, Mr. Speaker. What has happened, Mr. Speaker, is we have secured the position, as I said before. We're now considering our position as to whether or not we appoint a receiver. It still remains to be seen. We do have the responsibility, the liability for the ongoing commitment, and we want to ensure, Mr. Speaker, that in fact the plant is mothballed effectively and it is not vandalized or damaged over the period when we look for a buyer. And obviously it's going to have money attached to it or costs attached to it to do just that. To do anything else, Mr. Speaker, would be irresponsible. The government is fulfilling its commitment. The government has looked after all the aspects and ensured that they have taken place, has looked after environmental questions, Mr. Speaker, and is now seeking worldwide to see if there's a buyer for this product. We've had consultants both on the technical side and on the sales side, and we're pursuing all possibilities to ensure that it can be moved fastly and rapidly into the hands of the private sector.
Mr. Speaker, that's probably the most expensive mothball in the history of the world, Mr. Speaker. That's a minister saying that it's taken him a year to mothball. That's why it's costing us $12 million, Mr. Speaker. That's ludicrous. My question then simply to the Treasurer, that's at least $115 million. Will the Treasurer now come clean and admit that the $115 million of taxpayers' money, at least most of it's at jeopardy at this particular time, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker, the member and, in fact, the government does not really agree with that position. I know the member is trying to make the extreme case. That's his prerogative. The government of Alberta wants to deal with fairness and provide the real truth to the people of Alberta. The fact is we have taken back and secured our position under the guarantee call, which is about $102 million at this point. Mr. Speaker, what must be known is that there's a value in that asset. And the value of that asset will be determined when we sell the asset, of course. But we will not be exposed to the extent of $100 million, Mr. Speaker. The residual or the sale value of that entity over time will be much more than, in fact, the member has talked about, and therefore the exposure to the government is far below what the member has mentioned.
Edmonton Glengarry on behalf of the Liberal Party.
Mr. Speaker, Olympia and York, as all Canadians now know, is a company in considerable financial difficulty. This is also a company that have substantial assets in the province of Alberta. The first question to the Premier is this: has Olympia and York, or any representative for Olympia and York, or any government representative come to the Premier and asked that the province of Alberta provide some sort of financial assistance to get Olympia and York out of their difficulty?
Haven't they done enough?
No, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, my second question is to the provincial treasurer. The Olympia and York Corporation and its subsidiaries have done considerable business in the province of Alberta. I'd like to know from the minister whether or not there are any outstanding loans or loan guarantees between the government or the Treasury branch or any other agency of the government with ONY and its subs.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, the member is putting on the legislative agenda information which is, I guess, now in the financial pages, and I suppose there's not a whole lot of new information there, but I can assure the member that if he wants to pursue with that kind of depth and ask me to provide information today about whether or not the government or any direct or indirect agency of the government has any commitment to ONY, it must obviously be on the order paper, and would not expect the minister to have that detail available to him right now.
expect him to know.
I think that a minister would anticipate and be ready for something like that. Mr. Speaker, my last question is to the Premier. Will the Premier assure Albertans that no financial assistance in any way, shape, or form will be provided to ONY to get its financial mess cleaned up?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I couldn't give some unqualified guarantee like that. I think far better, Mr. Speaker, that we see how things progress.
Member for Calgary Fish Creek, followed by Calgary.
Mr. Speaker, in view of the widespread concern that I'm sure all the members here have sensed throughout Alberta about our current provincial economy and the economic outlook for the year ahead, could the Premier advise the Assembly as to what economic plans were developed at this week's First Ministers' Conference that will directly respond to our needs and concerns here in Alberta?
Mr. Speaker, we spent some 13 hours together as First Ministers over the last 2 days. And Alberta's position has been very consistent. It has that in order to help with the Canadian economy and help with jobs for Albertans and Canadians, we require the governments to be working together in a cooperative way. As I've said before, Mr. Speaker, we will get so much more benefits if we have 11 governments going in the same direction rather than in different directions in fiscal and economic matters. That's why we've been prepared to spend so much time in these meetings. I should point out, Mr. Speaker, that Alberta's request, for instance, for income tax reductions have been met as a result of these meetings. Yesterday, we again were talking about the need for lower interest rates. I anticipate a large significant drop in interest rates today. We're working on the Canadian dollar. Just consider, Mr. Speaker, the benefits to our economy, to farmers, small business, individuals, of the drop in interest rates, which Alberta has been working for some period of time and we're now seeing happening. Of course, Mr. Speaker, in the area of housing, we were pushing for the stimulating the housing construction business. We know, Mr. Speaker, in Alberta alone, in the last 2 months, we're seeing housing starts increase by some 84%. I think, Mr. Speaker, these are tangible evidence of the things that have been flowing from these meetings. Now, Mr. Speaker, only one more thing before you say this is too long of an answer, is that in the very communiques which I tabled today, we deal with 8 matters, all of which influence jobs for Albertans and Canadians.
Well, one of the 8 matters that the Premier's just referred to, Mr. Speaker, and one that I find personally very provocative, is the idea of a national program in which capital infrastructure plans and budgets would be developed in a new coordinated nationwide fashion. Could the Premier elaborate on this concept and how it would impact us here in Alberta?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, it was an initiative of the province of Alberta that in the whole area of investment in infrastructure, where normally I think there's a traditional view that that means pavement, roads, airports, perhaps municipal infrastructure, sewers, and such, Alberta asked that the First Ministers broaden their concept considerably there, look ahead to the future, the kind of infrastructure that is really the wave of the future. If you could picture, Mr. Speaker, a highway of communications, a highway that carries ideas, carries intelligence, where I say for the members that if you would picture a kind of infrastructure, a knowledge infrastructure, that puts Alberta students face to face with students in other provinces. We raised this matter as the kind of infrastructure that should be considered for investment. That is schoolroom to schoolroom, infrastructure. These dollars would be going into educating our students, building unity, at the same time building our economy. I must say that the premiers were very interested, and we, Mr. Speaker, have put in place pilot projects now with 3 other provinces to work with them to see if we can establish, in fact, this very schoolroom to schoolroom. And then, obviously, Mr. Speaker, if you could broaden it, where you could put our students into the global marketplace, where they could, as we are moving with instant communications. It's limited only by your imagination, Mr. Speaker. I'm quite pleased, and I know that our Minister of Education, Advanced Education, and others will be picking up on these matters and working with the other provinces.
Mountain View, followed by Edmonton Whiteman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Works Management Company closed their doors in Calgary. This company claimed to be in the business of collecting debts for clients and representing them in small claims courts. Their action to close their doors left 3,000 files and clients in the lurch. And since then, I've had numerous complaints from former staff and clients regarding Mr. Eric Grunke and Mr. Donovan Walker, who are the key principals in this company. To the Minister of Consumer and Corporate Affairs, why were these men allowed to operate Legal Works for a number of years without a license when the Collection Practices Act clearly required them to have one?
Mr. Speaker, with respect to Legal Works of Calgary, it did for a number of years operate as a paralegal firm. Paralegal firms are not licensed under legislation of the department, and it was only when it became apparent that they were engaged in the collection practice and therefore holding funds of citizens in that respect that the department became involved.
Mr. Speaker, their material clearly indicated that they were in the business of bill collection. I find it incredible that when we're spending $21 million a year for this department, that they were unable to regulate this company. At the time that the department finally issued a license under the Collection Practices Act, his department should have been well aware that both Mr. Grunke and Mr. Walker had faced numerous lawsuits, and indeed that Mr. Walker had a record for forgery and fraud. I'd like to ask the Minister what persuaded the department that it was in the public interest to issue a license knowing that these people had this kind of track record?
Mr. Speaker, the agency in question was investigated by the department prior to the issuing of the license on several occasions. As I indicated in the previous answer, on those occasions it was found that they were not carrying out responsibilities under the Collection Practices Act. When that took place, they had to fulfill the appropriate requirements for a license. The department was aware of a previous criminal record on the part of at least one of the 2 principals involved. That, however, was one from many years back, and they had made a judgment, as it takes place with respect to the operation as they saw it at that time, to allow that license to proceed. On numerous occasions since that license was in place, the Department of Consumer and Corporate Affairs required the injection of capital funds, required the increase of the bond, and did survey this particular company as a result of concerns that were raised. There is now a trustee appointed. The trustee will look at the funds that are now left available and those that are coming in still by mail and determine how those should be distributed among the public. I might further say, Mr. Speaker, that with respect to this particular issue, any information would be helpful. Information from current clients or previous clients, information that the honourable member might have, I would appreciate receiving.
Edmonton Whiteman.
Concern has been expressed by municipalities and the AUMA that the government may stake claim to profits made by the Alberta Municipal Financing Corporation that rightfully belong to the participating municipalities. To the provincial treasurer, will the provincial treasurer give his assurances that he will not attempt to grab this $300 million as another quick fix to his deficit budget?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm not too sure if I accept the member's legal opinion, but notwithstanding that, I can say that the Alberta Municipal Finance Council, the directors of that board, as a matter of public record, have been discussing the future of AMFC in a variety of ways, and one of the recommendations was whether or not the company was overcapitalized or not, and they did not pass any recommendation.
The question, wheelbarrow.
Mr. Speaker, apparently the 1992-93 budget has been further delayed. Is this delay, and this is to the provincial treasurer, is this delay because of a municipal lobby to ensure that these dollars are not intended to be used in the provincial treasurer's budget as a source of revenue?
Mr. Speaker, I'm not too sure that again, the member's words are fairly casual. To say that the budget has been further delayed is just not right. We are working on a budget which we'll present to the province of Alberta. Obviously, there are fairly significant time questions involved, but the government, in framing an important economic document, must take all the time necessary to ensure that it is in fact the one for the 90s ahead, and this government is doing just that.
Foothills, followed by Edmonton Jasper Place.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday in Calgary, the Federal Minister of Energy announced changes in regulations regarding the discriminatory practices under the Investment Canada Act, which restricted investment capital for the oil and gas industry. My question is to the Premier. Would he assure the House that through the efforts of this government and the industry combined, that finally the destructive National Energy Program has been eliminated?
Well, Mr. Speaker, that is a significant announcement yesterday. I know that it will take some time for the impact to flow through the industry when the industry is having difficult times right now. But nevertheless, a significant feature that the honourable member has highlighted is that this is the last vestige of the National Energy Program, which brought such damage and destruction to the province of Alberta. I hope, Mr. Speaker, that we never see anything like that again imposed on a province in our country. Right. And if we have the constitutional matters which have been brought forth by this government fulfilled, we will make sure it never happens again. The National Energy Program is dead.
Hear, hear. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, well, I understand the groans and moans from the two opposition parties to see the end of this, as they were co-authors of the destructive policy in the first place, and they were bent on destroying this industry and the economy of Western Canada. I would like to have a supplementary again to the Premier and ask him if he could characterize the response from the industry and give us an indication of the extent that oil and gas investment will be enhanced as a result of this long-awaited announcement.
Mr. Speaker, there's no question over the years that in this province we have the people resources and we have the natural resources. And they have helped to build a magnificent province. But we have always needed the capital. And the capital, when it hasn't come from other parts of Canada, we've had to bring it from outside of this country. And it was very discriminatory that only one economic sector still had this control over investment, and in the way that the energy sector had. Now, I know, Mr. Speaker, the honourable member from Westlock, who supported the National Energy Program when it was devastating our province, doesn't like to see it end. But, Mr. Speaker, the industry, the people of Alberta, very much like to see it end, and I know that the new capital that will be able to come in and help to rebuild and strengthen that part of our economy is very, very important.
Hear, hear. To Jasper, please.
Because they act like the champagne's gone flat over there. Today the public hearings resume into the Swan Hills expansion in Slave Lake, and I'd like to ask the Minister of the Environment some questions about the 6-year-old joint venture agreement, which I tabled in the House today. This joint venture agreement is the very archetype of public loss and private gain. It provides a guaranteed rate of return to the private sector. It's cost us $171 million to date. No. Last year, $7,000 subsidy for every ton of waste that went through that facility. Now, they charge $200 to $2,000, $7,000 subsidy. Just in view of this massive hole that's burning in the taxpayer's pocket, I'd like to ask the minister if he has exercised his option under Clause 1402 to review the guaranteed rate of return to the joint venture partner and stop the hemorrhage of tax dollars in this operation.
In answer to the honourable member's question, yes, I've instructed the corporation to undertake a review of the joint venture agreement. Secondly, the hearings are not being held in Slave Lake, Mr. Speaker. They're being held in Swan Hills. And thirdly, Mr. Speaker, if the honourable member wants to know about special waste management, all he needs to do is look to Alberta, where we are the only jurisdiction in North America with a fully integrated hazardous waste management system that now has freed this province, and we're the only province to be not only rat-free, but totally free of liquid PCBs, because of the foresight and the courage of this government to put in place a plant. Well, unfortunately, we aren't free of...
Thanks. We're not going to have three members at the same time. Thank you. Supplementary. Let's go.
Get thrown out in the next election. But the minister, I'd like to thank him for that response. He anticipated my supplementary to some degree. The government proposed expansion and the heavy losses that are associated with that plant will force Alberta, because of its position, to import toxic waste from other provinces if it goes ahead.
Oh, come on.
I'd like the minister to explain to this House why the government withdrew the issue of imports of waste from the Natural Resources Conservation Board hearings, when he knows very well that the two issues are not related, but they're absolutely the same. Why did he pull that off the table for the hearings that are taking place in Swan Hills?
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, the hearings are related to the expansion of the plant and the environmental worthiness of that particular proponent, and the expansion is to look after the backlog of wastes that are now contained in solids. But if the honourable minister is concerned about cost, maybe he can look to his, the honourable member, I'm sorry, is concerned about, maybe he can look to his brothers and sisters in Ontario who have spent $100 million just trying to find a site. And the cost of the proposed plant, once it's put into place, have escalated from $50 to $500 million. Yeah. Now, how is a broke province going to find that kind of money?
Edmonton Strathcona, followed by Edmonton Meadowlark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, in speaking to the Dutton affair, the Minister of Consumer and Corporate Affairs extolled the virtues of the independence of the Securities Commission and advised the Assembly that he had requested the Commission to undertake an investigation of the matter. My question is to the Minister of Consumer and Corporate Affairs. I would request that he advise the Assembly whether the request to the Commission is under Section 28, where the Commission decides whether to undertake the investigation, or under Section 33, where the Minister has the authority to direct and compel an investigation.
Mr. Speaker, it would be under Section 28.
Mr. Speaker, the problem then is, of course, that contrary to the commitment of this government for disclosure of information, we will then not have any mechanism by which to compel the Commission to make a report to the Minister. Will the Minister undertake, if a report is provided to him, to disclose it to the public of Alberta?
Hear, hear. Mr. Speaker, as previously indicated in this House, I would undertake to have the Commission carry out its responsibilities with this company as it would with any other Alberta company. This government, this minister, won't interfere. It won't get involved. It merely will make sure that this semi-judicial body, which is set there to judge without political influence Alberta companies and adherence with securities law, we will make sure that they know all the facts that are available and respond appropriately.
Meadowlark.
Mr. Speaker, 3 conditions specified by the government for its recycled tire initiative were that proponents had to have secured land for their project, proponents had to have identified markets for their end recycled products, and that no proponent or project was to be allocated government money. My first question is to the Premier. Could the Premier please tell us how his emissaries to Trochu are going to explain why the Minister of the Environment accepted 2 proposals, both without land, and then gave one of them $50,000 in government money to identify markets which the Minister's own conditions specified should have been identified long before they proposed?
Well, I thank my honourable friend for the question, Mr. Speaker, but if he looks hard, he'll see that the Minister of Environment is here, right, and the Minister of Environment can answer him.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm quite surprised. Here we see the honourable member for Jasper Place in living black and white in the newspaper, and no, but I'm going to quote what he said about the selection. He says, "I'm quite pleasantly surprised," said New Democrat environment critic John McGuinness. "We'll have to congratulate Mr. Klein on a job well done on this one." Now, here's what the honourable member for Meadowlark had to say. Here's Liberal environment critic Grant Mitchell said the government was balanced in awarding the projects to companies from both major centres to build plants in both rural and urban settings. There are several aspects of this decision that appear to have a great deal of merit, Mitchell said. The projects appear to be environmentally sound. What is he talking about?
Tell him that we won't let McGuinness in the party.
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, we're like you. We don't want the New Democrat critic in our party either. How can the Premier, Mr. Speaker, how can the Premier have any confidence in the competence of a Minister of the Environment when, after having 3 years to bring this tire tax proposal in, he now has to announce a 3-month delay because he hasn't adequately consulted with the private sector elements who have to collect this tax?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to read from a letter. I'd be glad to table this letter. It's from the Independent Tire Dealers, the Independent Tire Dealers Association, signed by Mr. Ambrosi. And he says in his letter, the dealers indicated their support of this program in that it will result in scrap tires being properly disposed of as opposed to being landfilled. A concern was raised, however, with respect to the April 1st, 1992 startup date for collection of the advance fee. All the dealers present, and that was a meeting that they held, felt that an extension of the startup date to July 1st, 1992 is necessary. This was the request of the tire dealers, the people who are going to be involved, Mr. Speaker, in the administration of this fund.
This government listens.
I'm sure the honourable minister will file both documents that he was citing during his answers. Thank you very much. Red Deer North, followed by Edmonton Belmont.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The request for degree granting status for Red Deer College was vigorously and passionately voiced today on the steps of the legislature by the Student Council President Scott Johnson and also a large number of students from Red Deer College. My question to the Minister of Advanced Education is this: as the planning process for the future of the college is hampered without a clear yes or no decision, can the minister at least indicate today, given that he can't actually earmark funds today, but can he at least indicate whether the vision of Red Deer College for degree granting status can be a reality?
Mr. Speaker, we get into visions and realities. I frankly don't know how to respond. I would say the following, however, that
crystal ball.
Alberta can be very proud with having 700,000.
27.
700,000 fewer. 700,000 fewer population in British Columbia, and yet having 4,000 more university students is something we can be proud of. I was quite impressed, Mr. Speaker, with the delegation from Central Alberta, including those from Red Deer College, because they're very sincere in seeing that educational opportunities are offered for those upcoming Albertans. I shared with them the fact that we as a government view education and post-secondary in particular as very important, and that is why we're giving the attention we are to Toward 2000 together in the human resources study. And I assured them that I would answer one way or the other on behalf of government as soon as we had a firm position to announce.
Well, supplementary, Mr. Speaker, could the minister indicate to us if the student delegation, which he met with following the demonstration, had questions which he himself could not answer today, or was their trip in vain?
Mr. Speaker, I must say that Mr. Scott Johnson and the delegation from Red Deer College were a very impressive group to meet with. They put various questions to me, some that were considered confidential because they were within the confines of my office. I shared with him that we feel very strong as a government to see that the university transfer program, which exists in 7 of our institutions, which is not really working the way it should, must first be addressed as a very major integral part of the whole question of Albertans receiving university degrees.
Belmont.
Speaker, my questions are for the Minister of Labour. Mr. Speaker, the Employment Standards Code was passed by this Legislative Assembly to protect working Albertans from, admittedly, a few employers who have little regard for their employees. Many employees who have been wronged have filed complaints with the branch of the department that looks after those complaints, but with too few workers, many of those complaints are not being investigated. So now there appears to be little regard for the law. I would like to ask the Minister if she is satisfied that the branch is sufficiently funded so that all investigations can take place, or is she content to just let anybody who wants to violate this law violate the law?
That's what's happening.
Mr. Speaker, as the member is no doubt aware, we've recently been conducting a study of the entire operations of the employment standards area because many of our customers have made comments. Some have been complimentary, many have not. We first circulated our own staff to ask them what they thought could be and should be improved and how, and then put a discussion paper together and held symposiums across Alberta, had members of the public, employers, employees from all over Alberta gather together in workshops to discuss what they thought should be changed, if anything, and how. We've also had many people write to us responding to our discussion paper, and all of that now is being compiled, and we will be coming forward with an action plan in the near future.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the response, and I'm sure that all members of the Assembly would like to know the date when we might expect to see some responses from that commission. However, that doesn't answer the question about the department, the branch being sufficiently funded to allow for investigations. My question to the Minister of Labour is then, is the Minister satisfied that workers who have been grieved by employers and haven't their investigation being conducted, is she satisfied that it's all right that workers go without having an investigation done on those files?
Mr. Speaker, the response time is one of the factors that our customers have in fact been raising with us, although I think something in the order of 2/3 of all complaints that are filed are resolved within 90 days. Some do go on longer than that, particularly the ones which are in appeal and go through to a judge for resolution. And sometimes, of course, the department spends some time chasing either the employer or the employee. But there is never one particular specific response on for all files. They have to be dealt with according to the circumstances and what is appropriate at the time. But let me say again that we ourselves have identified that our customers are not satisfied with the service or the way in which the service is being delivered in all cases at the employment standards branches. We are undertaking a change so that we can indeed improve our service to the public of Alberta.
Margaret McKnight, followed by Edmonton Highlands if there's time.
Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Education. Why does the Minister insist that the education systems in Japan and Germany are better than ours?
Mr. Speaker, I have never made any such assertion.
I'm glad if that's the truth, Mr. Speaker. Since that is the case...
I know, honourable member, you just fell into that, but you take everybody's word in this place as being the absolute truth. So you just say, please continue. Let's go. All right. I'm glad.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. I'm glad. In those countries, they spend twice as much on university research and have much smaller class sizes. Is the minister prepared to fight for that here?
Speaker, one of the interesting partnerships that Alberta Education has teamed up with in the past year is with the Alberta Chamber of Resources. And the Chamber undertook a study to the tune of some $70,000 to review the math and science curriculum in grades 7 through 12 in Alberta, in West Germany, in Hungary, and in Japan. And what the Chamber came up with was some very interesting, in fact, some startling revelations about how Alberta, recognized in this report as one of the finest education systems on the continent, but how it stacks up in math and science vis-a-vis those other three countries. It not only talks about the curriculum and the textbooks and the way courses are taught, but it also sets it in the societal, the values context in which that learning is occurring. And I believe that this kind of research is very helpful in taking one of North America's best education systems and making it even better. And that's the responsibility that this government has to ensure that our children in this province get the best possible education.
Thank you. Honourable members, we've come to the conclusion of question period. I would just invite members posing questions and their research staff, if they would read Beauchesne 409, subsection 7, just in terms of framing the questions, and it is this. The question must adhere to the proprieties of the House in terms of inferences, imputing motives, or casting aspersions upon persons within the House or outside of it. And I know you're familiar with the phrase, and perhaps just bear that in mind when it comes to naming specific individuals so we don't get ourselves into any difficult situations. Thank you. Orders of the day. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. The Minister of